What if events went differently in Spider-Man No Way Home? What if something had happened that caused a zombie outbreak in Spider-Man No Way Home? Well, find out in this brand new Marvel's What If episode. Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, to yet another brand new Marvel's What If episode, where we're going to be talking about what if a zombie outbreak happened in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, it feels so good to do that intro. It's been a little bit since I've actually been recording what ifs and doing them, and I can say that it's great to be back. And I do want to say thank you so much for the latest support. It really means a lot. We're getting back right into the content. You can expect more what if videos, more breakdown videos, multiverse videos, and so much more on the Miss the Part channel. So do make sure to subscribe. It really goes a long way. It really helps the channel. But again, my fellow watchers, let's dive into the brand new Marvel's What If video. Location: New York City. Time: day. Peter was left with no choice. The whole world knew his identity. He made the last choice he thought he would save him and his friends from the public attacks. He contacted Doctor Strange. It wasn't for an average visit. No, he wanted Doctor Strange to make sure the world forgot that he was Spider-Man. This seemed like a simple spell Doctor Strange could do, one that would require a greater cost if it went wrong. The Sorcerer Supreme, Wong, before he left, knew this and warned Doctor Strange against casting the spell. But no one could tell Doctor Strange what to do, not even the Sorcerer Supreme. As Strange casted the spell, Peter continuously requested for numerous things, and this caused Doctor Strange to lose focus, and the spell was contaminated. What they didn't know was that this contaminated spell had created a tear in the universe and had pulled in different villains who were after Spider-Man from different universes. It had also pulled other Spider-Men from the other universes. But in one universe, something had gone wrong. There had been an outbreak of a quantum virus, a virus someone had brought from the quantum realm. This had caused the hosts to become mindless zombies and the virus to spread rapidly across the country. The contaminated spell had pulled Dr. Otto Octavius from that universe. Peter soon realized that he wasn't alone. He soon realized the gravity of the spell and how it had brought in people from different worlds looking for Peter Parker. He had encountered the Sandman, Electro, the Lizard thus far, but he hadn't encountered Dr. Octavius yet. Doctor Strange had provided him with a simple solution: to detonate the spell and send the villains back to their universes. But Peter objected. He didn't want them to die as they had done in their universe. Strange acknowledged that there was no other way. This led to a battle between Strange and Peter, with Peter using geometry to capture Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. He told Strange that he would come back for him when everything was done, only if Peter knew things were about to change. As Peter stepped out of the portal, something felt different. New York was never this quiet in the afternoons. It was also bustling with cars, skateboarders, noise, factory machines, anything. When it was this quiet, it didn't mean good. Peter felt his spider sense tingle. He rotated just in time to avoid the creature leaping towards him. Its skin had almost peeled off its face. Its molars were visible and not hidden behind its jaw. Its eyes were popping out due to how its face had shrunken. It wasn't human anymore. Peter gasped as he uttered the word zombie. He shot webs rapidly at the zombie's mouth to avoid being bitten, rotated his arm, and slammed the zombie into a wall. The zombie stilled. He tethered the box containing the spell to a wall. Peter turned to enter through the portal, but he was gone. He needed to understand what was happening. Peter began to swing through the city, passing over empty streets. As Peter got closer to the square, he heard noises. He began to see people, or things that looked like people. Peter swung down when he heard a shrill scream from a man. He shot his webs at the zombie that hovered over the man and pulled it off. He stretched out his hand toward the man to help him, but the man started convulsing. Peter noticed the large bite mark on his shoulder. The man's eyes rolled back. He sneered and jumped to bite Peter. Parker immediately leaped and swung away. The singular thought came to his mind that sent chills down his spine. Aunt May, MJ, and Ned. With so much vigor, Peter swung to his home to check on Aunt May. He entered through his window and called for her. Everywhere was quiet, but not for long. He heard the sounds of saliva and rush of feet towards him. Aunt May was gone. She was a brainless zombie. Peter's heart broke, and all he blamed was himself. He began to regret his decisions, not listening to Strange, but he didn't know how to use the sling ring to contact him. Peter avoided hitting Aunt May. He couldn't bring himself to do it. He swung out of the window with tears behind his mask. He removed it. It was no use now. He went to check on MJ and Ned. Peter couldn't take any more hurt. He needed someone to be alright in this mess. As he swung through the city heading to MJ's house, he kept an eye for anyone that needed his help. As he got closer to MJ's house, the population of the zombies had increased. Peter feared and hoped that MJ was alive. He had decided to call the zombies the unalive, because they seemed to be lost. They seemed dead. He remembered Ned. Ned was with MJ before he left for the sanctum. He had left Ned and MJ at her place. They had been applying together to MIT. When he arrived at her place, the splatters of blood on the wall made his heart race. He prayed that with soy sauce or wine from a good fight, or at most, the blood wasn't theirs. Peter heard rattling of wood, like someone was struggling. He immediately rushed to the scene, his face contorted out of pain and hurt. Ned was wedging a wooden stool against MJ to prevent her from biting him. Peter snapped back to reality. The hurt he felt, he would reverse it till he had the time to cry and come undone. Peter called out for Ned. Ned immediately responded, asking for help. Peter signed as he rushed to pull MJ off. He immediately stuck her to the wall with his webs. Ned was unscratched. As Ned rushed to the window, Peter stared at MJ, snarling. A tear slipped from his eyes. He had to find a cure. He needed to find a cure for Aunt May, for MJ, for New York. He was more bothered about MJ than he was about his weight of Ned on his back as he swung through the city. He asked Ned what had happened, and Ned told him he didn't understand himself. He told him that they had been writing out their application when there was an emergency broadcast about a virus instructing everyone to remain indoors. MJ's parents had rushed indoors, but they didn't know the father had been bitten. Her mom had accidentally pushed him out of the window, and her mother had killed herself before she could live with the guilt. But MJ had already been bitten by her dad. Peter didn't know it was possible for his heart to break again, but it did. They needed to find a cure before it was too late. At times like this, he missed Tony Stark. He would have developed a cure by now. They needed a safe place, and there was only one place in mind, the sanctum. When they had arrived, Peter had given Ned the sling ring for custody, while he checked for any clue to aid them in the invasion. Ned, enchanted by the ring, wore it and mimicked Doctor Strange. Orange sparks emanated from the top of his fingers. Ned turned to tell Peter, but he was nowhere in the room. He focused and thought about seeing Peter. A portal opened to an alleyway, and the silhouette of a person was visible. He heard a snarl and knew the person wasn't normal. He immediately began rotating his arm anti-clockwise in an attempt to close the portal, but the person rushed through. It was a person dressed in Peter's suit, another Spider-Man, but a zombie. Ned quickly called for Peter as he tried to evade the webs of the Spider-Man. Peter swung in to see the zombie. Ned began narrating that he had used the sling ring to open a portal. He told him that he had been thinking of him, but he didn't know why he opened a portal for the zombie. In the midst of Ned's words, vomit, Peter was amazed and happy. Ned could use the sling ring. They could get Doctor Strange back. Peter dodged the blow of the zombie Peter and told Ned to try and open a portal for Doctor Strange. Ned immediately ran upstairs, leaving Peter with his doppelganger self. Peter shot his web at the zombie Peter, who held onto it and pulled him with force. Peter was swept off his feet as he didn't expect the force. He didn't also see the quick roundhouse kick to his face coming. Peter hit the wall and one thought ran through his mind. The zombie heroes were more ruthless. He called out to Ned to check if he was making progress. Ned yelled in the negative. Peter signed, knowing that the fight would be longer than he anticipated. Peter avoided the collision of the desk the other had thrown across to the position he was in. Peter needed to think and fight smarter, not harder. If there was one thing he knew about zombies and movies, they were as coordinated as normal people. Peter placed his feet to the wall, shot his webs to the railings of the stairs, and pushed his feet while simultaneously pulling himself with the web. He hit the zombie squarely in the face. The zombie went through the air and slammed against the wall. Parker quickly shot webs to hold the zombie to the wall. The noise that they were creating had attracted the few zombies outside, who began to slam the door. Peter shot his web to seal the door. Then he heard his name. He turned and saw Doctor Strange standing on top of the stairs. Peter began to utter apologies. Strange held his hand up, and Peter kept quiet. He had asked him for the spell, and Peter remembered he had tethered it to the wall outside. He told Doctor Strange where it was. Strange dashed outside, tearing through the webs, holding the door and hitting the zombies. The doors had closed before Peter could tell Doctor Strange to be careful. He silently prayed that Ned had explained what was happening. Peter felt a web hit his hand. Before he could stop himself, he was soaring towards the zombies, whose arms was stretched. Peter's neck cradled into the open palm of the zombie, who began to squeeze while dragging Peter towards his drooling mouth. Peter shot webs to cover his mouth. He held onto the arm of the zombie and squeezed harder. He heard a bone snap, but the zombie didn't wince. He called for Ned. Doctor Strange had been outside for a while. He had found the box attached to the wall. Pulling off the spell was the easy part. Fighting up the zombies wasn't an easy task, as it seemed in his head. He immediately dashed into the sanctum to end the invasion. Strange tore through the doors and evaded the object that collided with the zombie who was following him behind. but he couldn't evade Zombie Peter, who had broken free from the webs. Zombie Peter collided with him and sunk his teeth into his chest before he was yanked away by Peter and Ned. Ned bent to check on Doctor Strange, but Strange shrugged him off. He needed to finish the spell. Doctor Strange was feeling dizzy, but there was a single thought in his mind: to end this, sending the source, the origin of the invasion, back to its universe, would encounter the effects of the virus. It would be like it never happened. Doctor Strange stumbled as he located the chambers he had initially casted the spell. He began to recast it. He felt himself changing, but he needed to finish the spell. Peter stumbled after him. He asked what would happen to the rest of the zombies who were not in their universe, who would be sent back. Strange remained mute. He had learned his lesson never to communicate while casting a spell. When the spell neared completion, he halted and looked at Peter. He told Peter that they would be returned to their universes as zombies. Peter's eyes widened as Strange completed the spell. He knew this was no longer Strange. He had lost his mind. The spell didn't solve the virus. It only worsened it. It made the virus a multiversal problem. And that is going to be what if a zombie outbreak happened in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, what did you think of that cliffhanger? That was a cliffhanger for another video. I mean, how did it happen? Could it have been a different video that maybe we already talked about zombies? What is your theories in the comments down below? I do want to say there could be a part 2. There could be another series coming out soon. I mean, I don't want to go too much in depth, but I do want to say that this was an insane episode. It's great to be back because I do want to say I have been away from doing what ifs and really doing this for a while now. It's been about a month, and I do want to say I had pre-recorded videos, but I was really glad to get back into this, and you know, I'm really glad to finally have some content out for March. March is just gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane all spring and all summer on the Miss the Part channel. We're gonna get our momentum back. We really are. And again, I want you guys to stick around. So the support really means a lot to me. If you guys would like to support the channel, there's many ways of doing so. You can follow me on my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, on YouTube. You can find me. Also, I'm going to be making a full-on Spotify so that you guys can see more episodes, but there is a original Marvel Zombie series that will be coming to the channel. I don't know when it will be coming out. It could be coming out within the next couple weeks, but I know that a lot of people love when I do those types of videos. So again, that's going to be coming soon, but I can't wait to make more. So do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a wonderful day. Peace out.